I'm Caitlin and welcome to the Lit Review. Today I am doing a bit of a different video for me, but it's one that I've seen go around BookTube and I just couldn't resist the idea of doing my own version of it. But we will be doing a outfits inspired by a book cover. And so today I have 6 book titles for you, 3 of which I've read and 3 of which I haven't. I thought it would be interesting to do a twist on this to walk you through not only why I picked these books, but like why their covers are interesting to me, or like how they inspired me to create outfits. What I think is interesting is all 6 of these books represent like different things that I'm drawn to in book covers, or like trends that have been really important recently in book cover design. So like I thought doing a little bit of a twist and talking you through some of that would be really helpful. I am not going to try to summarize the books in these videos. It's going to be all about the covers, all about that art. So let's get into it. So like I said before, there are 3 books in this stack that I haven't read yet and 3 that I have. So hopefully the 3 that I haven't read, these will inspire me to actually get them read. But I'm going to start with the ones that I haven't read yet. And the first one is The Starless C by Erin Morgenstern. So you can already see like kind of this gold shiny bee on the cover. It has like a really pretty marble texture. And importantly, it also looks like a book, like an older book, you know, with this like fake spine here. The back has really cool like marbled, almost like end paper looking things with this giant golden key. The spine is really cool too. Again, more foil, you know I love a foil. And so one of the things that I love most about book covers like this is that they look old, like they've deliberately made this book cover look like an older style of book. So I haven't picked this one up yet, but I still really love the cover for this and think it's really neat. So what I did in terms of an outfit is actually the outfit you're seeing me in right now, not that you can see a lot of the details. I thought for a Starless C, a lot of what made this cover really cool was like the mix of print and texture, as well as like that constant mix of gold foil. So I picked an A-line skirt that has kind of a bit of a texture to it. It's not quite marbling, but it's got like these little silk dots and the flowers. And so I don't have anything that has bees on it. The flowers seemed kind of appropriate. And it's in like that kind of almost muted vintage looking color story. So I thought that would really work. And then I wanted to mix that with a more graphic tee, but a graphic tee that still had some kind of hint of vintage flair. So I've had this t-shirt for a really long time, I think since high school. My mom got it for me way back when, and it says poet on the front. And that is in like kind of a ornate script that looks like it maybe got pulled from old books. And then I finished the styling of that by doing a little gray ribbon choker with some gold accents, and then this little beaded necklace, just again to give like more texture, something that looked a little old, a little vintage. And then of course my beautiful gold shoes. So that is my outfit for a Starless C. What do you think? The next book I decided to style is one that is really, I think, representative of a larger trend in covers right now because it has an illustrated cover and those are really big. I think a really good example of this overall cover trend is The 2 Lives of Lydia Bird by Josie Silver. And so I still haven't read this one, but the cover is really intriguing. I personally, in my own style life, am really a sucker for this kind of dusty rose, millennial pink, whatever you want to call it. I have so much of this in my closet. But also what I'm taking from this as a styling guide is, even though the book itself is not set in the 50s, there's kind of like a diner vibe with both of these 2 diner sets. And so I kind of took the color palette and some of that 50s diner aesthetic and ran with it. I had this top for a really long time. It was actually part of a collection at Kohl's that was a mashup between Snow White and Lauren Conrad, and I wish they did more stuff like that because it was the cutest collection. But this little like Peter Pan collar and the red apples and this pink. I had to stop myself from pairing that with a tulle skirt because I own a lot of tulle skirts and I just kind of need to reel that back in. But so I thought like a really nice dark wash denim to kind of give it that tucked in look, and then, you know, putting my hair up in a ponytail with a little bit of like decoration there to kind of, again, harken back to the 50s, but not totally replicate it. And then I also have these really cute little leopard print boots that I just kind of thought, again, added different tone and texture and kept it a little bit more modern. So even though I'm not like directly copying any of the clothing that you see on the illustrated cover, it still has hopefully the right vibe. So how did I do with the cover versus the photo? Okay, so the next book that I haven't read, it's the last book I haven't read on this list, but that is Pride by Ibi Zoboi. This cover is just absolutely stunning. I believe I got this originally in an owl crate, but I love, you can't really see it, but there's all this really ornate texture and it's actually embellished. So that's something in covers that I really love. Is just the embellished texture feeling. So that's the texture vibe that I was gonna go for. And you can see that this cover is kind of like a ornate bronze with a splash of pink. So I don't own a ton of this shade of brown, but what I did was, I am like one of my favorite things that I do for myself is I buy a Rent the Runway subscription. I am a Rent the Runway Unlimited member, and just for the record, this is not a sponsored thing. I pay them, not the other way around. I just decided to rent a couple of pieces for this video specifically, and I'll call them out when I use them. But this really beautiful top that I'm going to show you has a lot of the same texture that I think makes this cover so special. And so again, it was about like creating that ornate texture, pale tan against the black, creating contrast and giving you that sense of embellishment. And then of course I had to have my splash of hot pink. This jacket is one that I've had for a really long time. I love, love, love the hot pink accent, and I think it goes really well with this whole look and vibe. So the blouse is really pretty, the little button up top is really pretty, the jacket makes it pop, and then just like really basic black jeans. I always like to have those as a staple, just to shake up my regular dark or light wash denim. And then for boots, I just decided to go with something like motorcycle inspired, just because I love that kind of almost edgy look with something really soft like that top. So that is how I decided to style Pride. What do you think? How'd I do? Okay, so the next three are all books that I have read, and now some of them I bought specifically because the cover drew me in. Others just I think really illustrate some of the things I love about good cover design. And the first of this is honestly my whole reason for doing this video, because I really just wanted to play dress up a little bit, and that is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I really love, and I see this mostly in historical romance, but I do think this is a really good technique for covers, is just kind of like almost like a woman in an ornate dress, a woman in a really pretty luxurious dress really gets me. And I know that that's pretty basic as a cover design, but it works for me. And this really stunning green satin looking dress with, you know, just a little bit of her face with the red lips and the red nails, and it really did throw me back for this novel into its time period. And so for this, I specifically rented a dress from Rent the Runway. I actually really love, when I'm vintage shopping, I love to go and look at nightgowns and see what's available, but the nightgowns that I already own are in the wrong color palette. So I rented this gown from Rent the Runway, and it is just like the right amount of slinky, silky. It kind of looks like a vintage nightgown or like a, you know, like 40s style glamour dress. And so this was really just my excuse to play dress up and get that feeling, get that vibe. And then I kept the styling super simple because I feel like the dress for both the cover and this dress are the focal point. I styled it with a little bit of vintage inspired jewelry, although it's costume jewelry, it's super cheap. And then some gold glittery shoes that you can't really see under the dress, but they're there. So how did I do with Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo in outfit form? This was a total cover buy, but it ended up being one of my favorite reads probably for this year, and that is Permanent Record by Mary H.K. Choi. And what I love about this is both the, again, more millennial pink, and you also see this really nice, like, more saturated blue. But what I've always loved about this book cover is, you know, it's like this clear hardcover. But then it also, when you reveal the naked hardback, it's a totally different scene, and it really teases the layers of the story that you'll be reading, and it's so cool. So I wanted to do something that has the same mix of like pink and blue. And again, I told you earlier, I'm a really big fan of tulle skirts. So this was my one tulle skirt that I allowed myself for this video. And so it's a like blue, fluffy teal skirt with a pink underlay to it so that you can hopefully still pick up those textures. And then I decided to style it with a really basic pink and white striped graphic tee with a little bit of a stretchy belt in the center, just to kind of, again, define and add a little bit more pizzazz, because there's also a lot of like black and white lines to help define this cover. And then I styled it with just like basic white sandals, again, to kind of be a neutral, to be a pop, but to keep it summery and fresh. So I really wanted to keep something that felt maybe a bit more authentic to the actual characters in that book. So I threw on this denim jacket that has a little bit of like gray sweatshirt material as well. And I would happily wear this outfit out and about, but how'd I do? How does the cover of Permanent Record compare to this? Okay, and then the last book that I am here to share with you as a cover is kind of a mix of a lot of the things I've talked to you about today. So it has like that illustrated feel, but it's also really bright and colorful and intricate, which is something I really love in cover design. And even though this is an ARC cover, the ARC cover is one that is the exact same as the finished cover, or is very similar, and that is this Bright Sessions novel, The Infinite Noise by Lauren Shippen. You end up learning so much about the characters in the story from this cover as you read, but you don't know that going in. You just see like the really beautiful saturated yellows and blues, like the kind of mix of colors here. And so it was kind of tricky to find something that was an exact, that had like this mix of colors. So again, I defaulted to Rent the Runway here a little bit. I found this really cute little romper that is blue but has a lot of different threads of color running through it, and I thought that was really appropriate, not only for the cover but the content of the book. And because this is clearly a story that takes place in high school based on the cover, I didn't want to like get too intricate or fancy with like styling it with heels or something, because not that people can't wear heels in high school, I just wouldn't have if it were me. Like, it would have been sneakers. So that's why I chose to style this with like my little gray slide-on sneakers that I love and I've had for years. And just kind of like keep it casual and easy for this, because the real star of it is just like the mix of colors, which is, how I think of this cover. So how did I do with The Infinite Noise versus my styling? Well, that's it for this premise. I really hope this was fun for you. This was a lot of fun for me. Just being able to talk you through why I like certain covers and like what drew me to what in styling, to me just added like an extra layer of fun for this. Fashion is always how I've expressed myself, and this is just a lot of fun to kind of connect the dots between books, one of my big great loves, and fashion and styling, which is another of my great loves. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think of the outfits down below, and let me know if there are any books that you think I should do next if I choose to do something like this again. Thank you for spending time with me. I hope you have a fantastic reading day. Like and subscribe if you would like to know more about me or this channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!